Hello, I'm Lucy Hockings. Welcome to BBC News Now. We have some breaking news to bring you now from Thailand. The country's legislature has just said that Parliament will convene on Friday for a special meeting to pick a new Prime Minister. It comes after the Constitutional Court dismissed Prime Minister Srettha, the court in Bangkok, ruling he had violated the Constitution by appointing a minister who'd served time in jail for contempt of court. He's been in office less than a year. Now, this ruling threatens to destabilise Thailand's governing coalition, and this is a country that has faced decades of political uncertainty and governments toppled by the courts. Mr Srettha is the fourth Thai premier in the past 16 years to be removed by the same court. And just last week, it dissolved the main opposition Move Forward party and banned its former leader from politics for 10 years. This move could also have major implications for Southeast Asia's second largest economy and impact investor confidence. Mr Srettha has spoken shortly after the ruling.
I respect the verdict of the Constitutional Court. I reiterate that for almost 1 year I have been in this role. I have tried with good intentions to lead the country with honesty.
He said he was shocked by the decision, and our Southeast Asia correspondent Jonathan Head said it took many people by surprise.
They are, even though, of course, the court has an extraordinary track record. All those prime ministers you mentioned, it's actually dissolved more than 30 parties. And this is a court that many people argue is more powerful than any elected government in the country. For all that, the whole business about this petition against Mr Srettha wasn't taken that seriously. I mean, Thailand's politics are not famous for their ethics. All sorts of colourful and pretty disreputable people have served in government and in parliament in the past. And this was essentially a political decision, and nobody thought that there would be real pressure to get rid of a Prime Minister who's still struggling to get the economy going, and as you say, has only been in office for just under a year. We still don't know exactly what lies behind this verdict, apart from reminding us just about how powerful and interventionist Thailand's courts are. It really does throw the country into some disarray. I mean, there is a process for choosing a new Prime Minister and a new cabinet. That will happen probably pretty quickly. We expect a meeting in Parliament on Friday where the current coalition of 11 parties can discuss. It has to be somebody who's already registered as a prime ministerial candidate in the last election. Which of them will become Prime Minister? But it's clear that it seems that the dominant Pheu Thai party in the coalition did not expect this verdict, and that there is some confusion about just exactly what kind of government is going to emerge.
Do they have the clout, Pheu Thai, to lead the next government still then, Jonathan?
Well, their clout is much diminished. This is the party that dominated elections for 15 years, but in the last election, of course, it was eclipsed by the reformist Move Forward party, who got 10 more seats than Pheu Thai, who were expecting to get an outright majority. And so Pheu Thai is seen in many ways as a diminished force, but also it had to do an awful lot of backroom bargaining to get its patron, Thaksin Shinawatra, the former Prime Minister who was in exile for all those years. He's the main power and bankroller behind the party, to get him back from exile last year. Now, the assumption was that was part of a grand bargain with the palace. There'd been a lot of enmity between ultra-royalists and Mr Thaksin in the past, but seeing this new, much more reformist party move forward as an enemy, that they come together and they've done this deal. It's clear that whatever deal there was not as settled as people thought, and that some of that bargain is now unravelled. And what that says about Thai politics is there really isn't agreement on the rules. There isn't agreement on who should run Thailand. There isn't even agreement on the direction the country should go in. And that just leaves a country which already has one of the most poor-performing economies in the region floundering, trying to find a sense of direction.
You explained a bit about the power dynamics in the country, Jonathan, when we look at the military, the monarchy as well, we should mention, as well as now the court. But what about the wishes of the people?
Well, they don't really count, do they? I mean, after all, the election last year, the result for Move Forward, which itself had been cut down by previous court verdicts, was a stunning rebuttal to those who were trying to marginalise it. Clearly, there was a huge hope for real change, a real new direction, for new ideas. That was completely swatted aside by the unelected Senate, and then, of course, the same court dissolving Move Forward last week. But if even Pheu Thai, which is now a much diminished force, with a lot of conservative and ultra-royalist parties in its coalition, cannot keep its Prime Minister in power, there's a real question about what kind of consensus exists at the top of the country. I mean, at this stage, We cannot say for sure how much the palace is involved, how much other Conservative forces are involved. I mean, it's very difficult to know. This was a shock decision and no one's quite sure why it happened. I suppose the judges themselves will simply say, technically, they were correct. Technically, it was a violation of ethics to appoint a once convicted lawyer to cabinet. But given the normal state of Thai politics, everyone understands that there's an awful lot of politics behind this. This is not really about ethics.